Elite boxing trainer Ronnie Shields shares his thoughts on Oscar Valdez situation.
Third, Coach, big news, and I have to get your opinion on this. I have to get your insight. It was reported by ESPN's Mike Coppinger earlier today. Oscar Valdez has tested positive for a diuretic, a banned substance. He's scheduled to defend his 130-pound title versus Robson Conceição on September 10th on ESPN in the main event. That was his A sample. The test was conducted by W.A.W, part of the WBC clean boxing program. Almost sounds like a paradox at this point. Goodness gracious. But here's what I wanted to ask you about, right? Yeah. According to Mr. Victor Conti, he said the Oscar Valdez phentermine stimulant case is much like the B.J. Saunders oxylifrine case, where Saunders lost his title, $2.3 million purse, and was suspended. Phentermine and oxylifrine are potent stimulants that can enhance performance, and all state athletic commissions uphold that VEDA positive test result. Is that the right course of action for Oscar Valdez or anyone who uses that diuretic, and why is it a banned substance, Ronnie?
Well, I think it's right that, I mean, look, if you're a fighter, you have to know what you can use and what you can't use. And most fighters, when they get to a certain level in the sport of boxing, they use a conditioning guy. That guy should also know what's not legal and what's illegal to take. And, it's no excuse for anybody to fail a drug test if you're doing the right things. Mm-hmm. And if you get caught, you deserve to be suspended, because it's not fair that the other guy who you're supposed to be fighting, he's already losing a purse because he can't fight, and he didn't do anything. So you can't reward guys for failing drug tests. Simple as that.
Indeed, Coach Ronnie. And I tell you what, and the reason why I bring it up, I'm asking about this, because there are a lot of fans who really don't understand who's to blame for this. But you brought up strength and conditioning, Coach, because they're consistently giving them supplements to help enhance their performance, but some are legal, some are banned substances. But ultimately, you said something that I thought was very interesting, that ultimately the fighter should be held responsible because he needs to inquire about all of this. Now, I'm going to bring up Emmanuel, right? Because Emmanuel couldn't stand his fighters to be working with strength and conditioning coaches. He said, look, nothing prepares you for battle better than hard sparring. In my opinion, nothing good comes out of the strength and conditioning. It takes away from your time in the ring. And yeah, it could put you in trouble and take away your purse and take away your livelihood for a significant period of time. How do you feel about Emmanuel's thoughts?
No, I mean, I agree with him 100%. Really in the true sport of boxing, I don't know where the conditioning guy comes from. Really, truly, I don't. I don't know where he comes from. Because throughout my career, I've never used a conditioning guy. I never needed a conditioning guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, I took my multivitamins. I ran. That's the only conditioning I ever got. But all of a sudden, one day, I hear, this guy's using a strength and conditioning guy. And so what is that? I didn't know what that was. And, really, truly, I really, guys, I don't know, guys may feel they need that. But, ever since we started using strength and conditioning guys been failing drug tests.
There it is.
If you go back in the day, when we used to do just a regular P-test, nobody failed a drug test. Because nobody really, you didn't take anything. that was going to hurt you or that was going to be illegal because we didn't know anything about taking something that's going to enhance what you're doing. And to me, it's crazy that fighters don't read about everything that they're taking because this is their career that's on the line here,
Yep.
And, the strength and conditioning guy, he wants to be popular because he wants to get work from other guys also. So if he convince somebody to do something that they ain't supposed to do and it helps them, then hey, the next guy is going to say, hey, I want to use that guy. So, and you may get away with it a couple times, 2 or 3 times, but then when you get caught, who go take the blame for that?
You know what, Coach? In your opinion, should we make the penalty for failing these tests more harsh, in your opinion?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Because it's not fair. It's not fair, number one, to the sport of boxing. It's not fair to your opponent who you're about to fight. Look, boxing is a very dangerous sport. This is not something that, like you're playing on the playground. This is a very serious sport. And somebody can easily get hurt. And if you don't take into account that these guys are cheating, then what's the use in having a commission? What's the use in having in an organization like, W.A.W, WBC, IBF, WBO? What's the sense in having that if you're not going to do what's right for all the fighters?
That is an excellent point, Coach Ronnie, and I love your insight. Correa, you have a question for Coach Ronnie.
Yes, Coach Ronnie, good to be talking to you again, sir. So, in your opinion, what should be the penalty if a guy tests positive for banned substance?
Well, number one, I think they should be stripped of their belt because it's not like you don't know that you have to take drug tests. That's number one. But that's the crazy thing about the whole situation is, you got to take drug tests, right? So why would you take anything that you know is going to fail? Whether you talking about the fighter himself or the conditioning guy, if that's who you're going to blame it on, or even the coach. Somebody got to know if you're taking something, what is it that you're taking? Is it legal? Number one, somebody should have to read up on it. And, everybody can go around and say, well, I didn't know he was taking that. But then the fighter might come and say, no, the conditioning guy gave it to me. Oh, no, the coach gave it to me. It's got to be whoever gave it to him, or if he gave it to himself, then he should be the only one that should be penalized. But if the coach gave it to him and he didn't ask what he's taking, then they both should be suspended.
Wow.
If the conditioning guy gave it to him, the coach knew about it, the fighter knew about it, then all 3 of them should be suspended.
Wow. Throw the book at him, Coach.
Absolutely. Taking no prisoners.
I love it. I love it. I tell you what, Coach, and we're going to be visiting with both of your fighters here in just a second. Okay, Coach, and the saddest part about this, and this is the last thing I'll say about Mr. Oscar Valdez, now it brings to question, everyone has now doubt about his sensational performance earlier this year in which he lifted the title from Miguel Burchelt. You can't help but put that in question. Are we wrong in feeling that way?
Well, I would hate to feel that way because for the simple reason, he had to take drug tests for that fight also.
That is true.
And he didn't fail. So he passed. So he had to be okay. So
that's right. It was for the WBC as well. Yep.
Yes. And so if he passed, then it's, you can't penalize him for passing. So everything was on up and up, unless he just got away with it. But you got to go with what happens when these guys take the test. If he take the test and he pass it, hey, it's all fair. Everything is legal. So yeah, I think he deserves to have won the title, and he deserved to be world champion. But now, since he failed the test, he deserved to be stripped of the title.